Okay, so I'm going to show off my trucks. Carl, he, a couple, 3 years ago, I can give you a little backstory on these things before I actually point the camera at them. But Carl came along, he's like, "Hey Wes," he says, "check these out." And he sends me a picture of these two trucks. And I asked him where they were at, and he says, and you know, he told me, showed me, whatever. And they were only within like a half a mile, less than half a mile from his place. They're like 3 miles from here, these two trucks. I asked if they were for sale, and he said no, they're not for sale. So whatever. I said, well, if they ever become for sale, just let me know. So maybe 3 weeks ago, I get a picture of the trucks again. He says, "Yep, they're for sale." So, you know, I'm partial to Fords. I just love the Fords. So here's the Ford. It's a 1941 Ford, and the history of this Ford truck is that it came from Kansas. Now I'll put the hood down. You got to be careful with these old hoods because some of the bitch will slam your fingers. So this came from Kansas, I guess, and it's an original family member that owned it. I bought them. So I guess her grandfather bought it from her uncle, and it came out here. I don't know how it got here, whether they drove it or towed it or whatever. Anyways, it got out here. I don't know what the story with the bed is, but it's obviously not there. And yeah, so then her father got it, and he did, from what I understand, he did an engine on it. Now I'm not 100% sure, but the thing is solid. This is an original truck. I mean, it's a solid original truck. They have a headliner in it, but the mice have packed it with shit. So you can see where the little buggers got in there, and then they just took probably all the stuffing out of the seat and put it up there. Here's a toolkit. I don't know if it's an original toolkit or not, but I haven't really gone through this one yet. So anyway, I went down and I looked at them. She said make her an offer. I offered her. She didn't seem too interested in the offer, so I re-offered, and it was a go. So I bought the trucks. Now, the beautiful thing about these trucks is that they are so incredibly clean. And this one here has a double latch system. So we'll open it up, and inside, I thought it was going to be a inline 6, to be honest with you. But when I opened it up, obviously there's this nice little Ford V8 in here, or the Flatty Ford. So they did run. Last date on this battery is May 05. I believe it was in a heated garage because that battery's not swollen. So I'm thinking, if that battery's not swollen, I'm going to try and put a charge in it and see if it holds a charge. If it holds a charge, you can almost bet that it'll start. I'll have to take the distributor off, and that is quite a distributor down in there, and see what I can do there. The mice, of course, have chewed off the wires on the generator. It's not an alternator, it's a generator. I do not know what how many speed it is, but I do know that the gas tank smells like somebody farted in there. It's pretty bad. So that'll have to be replaced. Or not replaced, but the fuel's gonna have to be drained out of it and put fresh fuel into it. Now this one, this is the Chevy that, you know, everybody seems so interested in, the Chevy. This is a 1937 Chevy. It has a 6-cylinder in it. Someone has done work to the fenders, obviously. She told me that her father bought this truck, and he didn't do anything with it. But it even had the sides, the original, you know, these are the sides that go on it. These are the original sides. And it has full-length running boards. There's some other parts, rocker arms there, and there's an extra rim, and of course the wooden sides. It is the original paint on here. This is the original paint. As a matter of fact, this William J. Dodderer, there is a slip in the glove box from 1945 that has his name on it. So I can guarantee you that this truck it's an original truck. Again, this motor has been painted, and it is free. It'll turn over, but look how close the fan is to that damn thing. I mean, you can't even get your fingers in there. I haven't sniffed the gas in this one yet, but I'm pretty sure if we can send Grant to do that, we can say, hey, dude, go ahead. He might do it. He's got to know where it's at, though. As you know, the gas tank on these old Chevys is like the old Fords, the older Fords, and there's a goddamn mouse in there still. Alright, so Mr. Mouse has to die. We're gonna have to get some mothballs in there. But this is where you fill your gas tank. It sounds empty, but I do not know. But here's the stick to check the gas. Even though there is a gas gauge on it, I don't know. I highly doubt that it works. It's on the other side, but that mouse is gonna have to disappear. This truck has a heater. It has a check this out. It has a window opener that's on right in the middle, and that opens the front window. So, yeah, isn't that cool? There's a sticker in the window, too. I'll go over to the other side. This shut solid. The glass is no good there. That's laminated glass. I love the emblems on the side of it, though. But it's got all this neat stuff, like this spotlight. That's awesome in itself. It has a radio, and the radio seems like it could work. It has a wasp. The radio dial actually does still work. So it's a Philco radio, and I'm going to look to see what year that sticker is. But yeah, it's awesome. That's all I can say. It actually has hydraulic brakes, which kind of surprised me for 1937, but there's the hydraulic brake fluid. It says use GM brake fluid. So, I don't know. We're going to go ahead and try that eventually. But yeah, high and low beams. It's got the starter, your throttle pedal there. It has 465 miles on it. The speedometer is stuck at 100, or is that 90? Actually, the speedometer is probably okay. Sometimes they work their way off. So I'm going to see if I can take this out of there. And the pin is there, so the needle just needs to be put back on, and it'll probably be just fine. But it is a tank. If you look in the rear ends under here, under the rear, which is right there, it is ginormous. Everything about this truck is heavy. And look at the glass. Look at that. Got the bow tie in the glass. That's cool. The other side does not have that, so it's just a single light. But for 1937, I think that's all that was required back then. So somebody had antique plates on it, obviously, and I'll be able to register the truck because of that, according to a friend of mine. He's like, oh, you're golden, man. He says, I'll get you. He says, you'll get a bill of sale with no problems. I put the sides on it because I think they just look cool. But it's a 9-foot box. I thought it was a 10, but it's a 9. And yeah, she's sweet. The Ford, it's just bullet, man. It's bulletproof. Just a tank of a thing. The wires are cotton braided. You know, you can see where they're bare here and there where the mice have had their way with them. They can be easily repaired or replaced. And what I thought was really cool was the tire is a Ford script tire. And I put that on Instagram, and someone said, well, that's a Firestone tire that was branded Ford by Firestone, which I know that there was a marriage that happened between a Ford and a Firestone, and that's why Ford always used Firestones. So that was the deal there. So I'm going to put the hood down on the Ford without getting my damn finger in it. My father, he promptly stuck his finger in there. But this is definitely the Master Chevrolet model Master. That's a Chevy Master. And this guy here, you got to be real careful with these things because people get real sloppy with them. They get real sloppy with them, and then you got fenders that have had the shit kicked out of them because of it. So that's what they look like. Grant's here. He's gonna get them started, right? Yeah. All right. But they're really cool. Here's the original Wayne Feeds. Wayne Feeds on the top, which was a national feed company. The radio. Look at this. I mean, look at that antenna. Ain't that something? That's original. I didn't think they put radios in 1937. I didn't even realize. I don't know when radio came about, but you know, maybe somebody would know. I'd have to look. But you can see that there's some rust here, but that's natural. It's just naturally the way it went. It was tack welded, I think. Looks to me like there's spots where that was tack welded at some point, but anyway, flour, feed, general merchandise. Let's see what it say on the back. William J. Dotter Dairy, Hog, and Poultry Feeds. And general merchandise, feed, and grain. There it is. So, yeah. This one here I'm going to put a huckster body on. If you don't know what a huckster body is, it is a basically a vegetable truck at that point, because, you know, it's like a 1.5 ton Ford truck. You step on these fenders, this truck doesn't move. I mean, you jump up on them fenders, and it doesn't do anything, right? Yeah, 2 packages. And here's where the helpers, where it drops onto the helpers. And if you look here, you can actually see at some point, these things have been loaded to the helpers. Talk about crazy, huh? There's a lot of leaf spring there. There's a lot of leaf spring. If you will get in the driver's seat here. This cracked me up. You know, this tire's like completely screwed, right? This tire, I think, has ran like this for a while. But that inner tube has air in it. It's crazy. But, yeah, I thought that was neat. Needs a bigger exhaust, though, for that V8, make it sound a little nicer. So, you get in the truck. Obviously, it's a split window. Sounds good. I don't know, the mirrors are, well, there they are. That's that dark mirror glass. I think they use actual silver to make that. But if you look at this, it says low gear, second gear to like 11 miles an hour, and third gear goes to 24, 26, or 28. But I'm pretty sure, I don't know how many speeds are on this. I think it's a 4. I don't think it's a 3. So, but if you get into 4, it's probably a 35, 40 mile an hour truck. I'm not even sure what this. See, on the shifter, there you got this little thing here, and it is actually, that thing is broke. The flipper's broke, but is it broke or isn't it broke? I don't even know. I thought it was a 2-speeder, but it just seems like there's one there, one there, one there, one there, and then nothing there, and then I'm pretty sure that's reversed. Huh? Okay, so my fertilizer came in. So anyway, yeah, so that's it. Got to do something about this, though. I think there was a light there at some point, and the freaking mice knocked it out. But, and that's it. What a beautiful old truck, right? Alright, so my fertilizer's here. Gotta love them. You got a Ford here, and a Chevy there. Tell me what you think of them.